WNEM TV5 News starts right now with a breaking news alert.
One man is under arrest after shots were fired on the streets of mid-Michigan while state troopers were nearby on patrol. Good evening, everyone. I'm Carrie Sharp.
And I'm David Custer. The shooting happened this afternoon at Sloan and Milburn in Flint. The gunshots forced police to call in a helicopter and surround a home where they arrested a 23-year-old man.
The suspect told police he wasn't trying to shoot anyone. He was just testing his gun.
The troops approached the house, called the man out. He came out of the house, admitted to shooting his new gun into the air. He was subsequently taken into custody without incident.
Now, no one was hurt, but the shooting did cause a moment of terror in that neighborhood. We will hear from a resident and a relative of the suspect tonight at 6.
A live look now at downtown Saginaw, where it's looking like what you might call a repeat of yesterday's weather. Here's Chief Meteorologist Brian Bachman with a first look at our forecast. Hi, Brian.
Hi there, David. Certainly a repeat in regards to some scattered showers and thunderstorms. In fact, a little bit more numerous than what we were seeing about 24 hours ago. And you notice over my shoulder on the radar here, too, some other feature we don't see all that often, at least outside of the last couple of months. There actually was a confirmed earthquake once again in mid-Michigan today. Not even not in mid-Michigan, but in Michigan. Tell you what, let's get to the radar. We'll show you exactly where it was. It was actually centered right near the Battle Creek area. Again, let me pull up the exact specifications here. It was about 7 miles northeast of Union City, and again about 14 miles away from the Battle Creek area. Interestingly similar to where the May earthquake happened. This one, though, thankfully a bit weaker, coming in at about a 3.3 on the Richter scale. But enough about what's going on the ground. Let's talk about what's going on in the skies. You can certainly see the radar lit up with all kinds of shower and even thunderstorm activity. Let's jump back one frame there. We'll go back to the area closer to the I-75 corridor. You can see a couple of showers even into eastern Lapeer County, and then more or less riding the I-69 corridor. A couple of light showers in and around Flint and over toward the western extent of I-69 through Shiawassee County. A couple of heavier showers there. Chesaning just to your south and east, extending along a narrow line there in and around most of Saginaw County, the Tri-Cities extending through Midland right now, and then really hovering right over the US 10 corridor through most of Midland County. You can see one particularly heavy band of showers through that area, and more of them in a very scattered nature through Gladwin, Clare counties, and up along the western extent of M55 this evening. Those will be with us for a good chunk of the evening, so keep an eye to the sky if you have any plans outside and as you're heading home tonight. 72 degrees, the current temp in Saginaw. Bay City reporting a little bit of moderate to even heavy rain with those showers moving through. 69 degrees also in Midland, so slightly rain-cooled air. 74 in Flint, staying rain-free for the time being. But again, that chance there likely until about 1 o'clock in the morning. We'll talk more about the earthquake and the rest of the week and the holiday weekend forecast coming up in just a little bit.
A local school board now has a new president, but the decision didn't come without controversy. Saginaw Schools named Ruth Ann Knapp president last night, despite board member Rudy Patterson's claims the position belonged to him. It is just one of a series of change-ups in the district following the resignation of interim superintendent Kelly Petros and previous president Glenda Richardson Vaughn. Now the district is under fire for its handling of a former school building after the company planning to buy it backed out of the deal. TV5's Krista Moore has the story.
We've got another building vacant, which is ludicrous.
Saginaw resident Linda Braddock is not happy that the former Buena Vista High School building will continue to sit empty due to what some say was a missed opportunity by leaders of the Saginaw School District.
We've got all these schools, school closings, and we have an opportunity to utilize a school that, you know, they had a chance to have some revenue coming in. You know what I'm saying? There's study talking about we're broke. If we're broke, why aren't you selling what you can sell?
Back in December, Pensophic Learning, a company that operates charter schools, offered to buy the building for $5 million, but they just backed out of the deal, saying leaders of the Saginaw School District were taking too long, which means they wouldn't have enough time to get up and running by the start of the new school year. Saginaw School Board President Ruth Ann Knapp says efforts to get clarity on the deal caused things to drag on.
There were a number of questions that were raised, and when we have meetings once a month, we referred things back to the committee, and then the committee has to go through it and then bring it back to the board. And it's a long process.
Now that the Saginaw School District won't be getting millions from the sale of this building anytime soon, many wonder if it will put the district back into deficit. The new president of the Saginaw School Board says no.
Our budget for next school year does not take into consideration any income from any sale of buildings.
Knapp says most district employees agreed to concessions last year, wiping out practically all of the district's multi-million-dollar deficit. She says any money received from selling property would be a bonus, but for now, there'll be no bonus, and the building will continue to sit until another buyer comes along.
It's a shame.
In Saginaw, Kristen Moore, WNEM TV5.
And we are taking a closer look at what Interim Superintendent Kelly Petros calls dysfunction in the Saginaw School District and the board particularly. Kristen asked the tough questions on that tonight at 6.
New tonight, police have arrested a man accused of robbing a local pharmacy at gunpoint. Police say this man went into the Baldwin Road Pharmacy in Lapeer last Tuesday and demanded medication. Today, investigators arrested a 66-year-old Attica Township man. He's being held in the Lapeer County Jail.
It's a new financial beginning for Mid-Michigan's largest city. For the first time in a decade, the city of Flint will begin the fiscal year out of the red. The mayor and city manager made the announcement this morning and laid out their plans for keeping the city on track.
We have a goal of building up more than a 10% reserve in the general fund so that we truly have a solid financial position. That's going to take a number of years. But the way we're going to get there is by managing our resources effectively, every month, every quarter.
When the new fiscal year begins tomorrow, the city will have nearly a $500,000 surplus.
Developing tonight, Mid-Michigan is reacting to new rules proposed by President Obama that could give millions of Americans access to overtime pay. In fact, the president says the rules could help as many as 5 million people. TV5's Sarah Simnich has a look inside the numbers.
I think everybody deserves equal payment, equal share.
The president agrees. He's looking to take steps to make sure that everyone who works overtime actually gets paid for it.
I think that's an absolute that we should have undertaken some time ago.
President Obama is proposing a significant change in who is eligible for overtime. Right now, salaried workers who make more than $23,660 a year cannot claim overtime. President Obama's proposed rule would raise that cap to $50,440 for those now exempt from overtime.
For employers, it just, it's more regulation, more federal government telling companies what to do. And that has real cost to them.
Craig Scudder is a local attorney who works closely with employees and business owners. He says employers have a couple options. Pay their exempt employees a higher salary to meet that new $50,000 threshold, or pay the overtime when they work those longer hours. He says either way, a change like this will eventually trickle down to you, the consumer.
All these things have real cost to employers, but ultimately they'll get passed on to the consumers.
The people we caught up with came down on both sides of the issue.
I think it's a good thing for low-income people, middle-class people. It's nice to have the extra money. It may be difficult for small business owners. It could go either way.
With our economy as it is today, most low-income and middle-income Americans need this kind of help so that they can also be a part of the American dream.
Reporting in Saginaw, Sarah Simnich, WNEM TV5 News.
The president's proposal is already receiving criticism from Republicans and pro-business groups who claim the plan will cost people jobs. Well, we want to know what you think about the president's proposal. Emily says it's a small step, but it's about time. And Caleb thinks it's a move toward helping the middle class, but legislating away greed will probably never be successful. Now you can share your thoughts too. Just post a comment on our Facebook page or email us, WNEM@WNEM.com.
If you are hoping to get married at the courthouse, you might want to check if that's even an option anymore.
After the Supreme Court's historic ruling Friday, a mid-Michigan judge refuses to perform weddings. That's tonight at 6.
And a low magnitude earthquake shakes up mid-Michigan and shakes up Michigan. We'll have a look at the epicenter tonight at 5:30.
First, it's announced the Pope's coming to America, and now we know all the details of his visit.
And Michigan lawmakers are working on another plan to fix the roads, but it could cost you more at the pump.
Right now, road funding's back on the minds of state lawmakers. They're discussing a plan to pay for needed repairs by raising taxes. TV5's Nick Lowley reports.
I don't think that's very fair.
Martin Matta is like most drivers. He wants to get from point A to point B cheaply and safely.
Some of the roads you got to go 15 miles an hour on because, you know, there's so many potholes and things like that on them.
A new fix on the table in Lansing could be the solution, but at what cost? In order to fix potholes and damaged roads like this one, you may have to start paying a little bit extra at the pump. How much extra? The current gas tax sits at 19 cents, but legislators are considering raising it by 15 cents to gain extra revenue.
I heard the lottery, it was supposed to be for schools and for the roads. And as far as I can see, the schools are getting shut down, the roads. I heard we got the worst roads around right now. So I don't think that's very fair. We should pay more for gas to pay for the roads.
But not everyone is against the increase. Some say it's a fair price to pay for better roads.
We know someone or have had it ourselves, a bent rim, a blown tire, even more serious repairs that need to be done because of our poor roads.
The Michigan Infrastructure and Transportation Association says the cost of the tax is nothing next to the cost of repairs.
That's just pennies compared to what we can save in the amount of repair costs.
But Matta says his wallet is already hurting and doesn't need any more burden.
To make us pay more for gas that's already high, you know, that's not very fair.
Reporting in Saginaw, Nick Lully, WNEM TV5.
Michigan's majority Republicans are meeting privately to finalize the legislation right now.
World markets are on edge as the banks of Greece remain closed, but the stage is now set for negotiations to solve the country's debt crisis. More on that at 5:30. First, it seems roadblocks are still in place for same-sex couples hoping to get married in Texas. Find out why clerks and judges are being allowed to withhold licenses. Chris Christie joins the race for president. We will tell you why he thinks he's the right person for the job. And remember to download the WNEM TV5 mobile app for the latest news and weather. You can find it in the App Store or on Google Play.